What's good, everybody? Welcome to another broadcast here for Fast Break, live for iSports Radio. You're following sports, and you're welcome to join us tonight. On tonight's show, D-Locke, the WNBA Finals is in full gear with the Aces winning today, 91-78. We'll go over that. With the Aces going up 2-0 right now over the Phoenix Mercury. Plus, my favorite part of we doing this show, the preview series. This week, we're doing the Eastern Conference. Next week, the Western Conference. Then fall after that, our title predictions, all that. But D-Locke, what you excited for tonight?
I'm definitely excited to get some good rankings in. We talk about WNBA finals. It is coming to the watch game. Like I told you earlier, man, I definitely have in fact the Golden State Warriors to make the game. I think that's going to be that as well. Look forward to a good conversation.
So yeah, we're going to dive into a lot of tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in with us. Bring those preview picks in there as well. And also, Napheesa Collier versus Cathy Engelbert. We'll discuss that as well. But this is Fast Break here live for iSports Radio. You're direct for Direct Sports. We'll catch you on the other side.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clanking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. iSports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us. This is Fast Break here for IE Sports Radio, your week for our sports. D-Locke, how you doing today on this lovely Sunday with your Tampa Bay Buccaneers getting a big win in Seattle?
Oh man, that was another resilient win, big time. Hell of a win. Baker came through. Levante David with the clutch pick at the end. Sam Darnold did throw that, so we'll take it. But very good. Very good game. Shout out to Ohio State, which is wide receiver U with Smith and Jigma having a hell of a game, and Mika coming back with a hell of a game as well. So it got pretty interesting. But like y'all kept one of the Ohio State former Buckeyes on the straps with Marvin Harrison over there. So I'm pretty sure you're happy about that.
Man, just real quick. We talked before. Like once they jumped out like 21-3, I was like, damn. I was like, God, I mean, Kyle again with what he wanted, middle of the field, all that stuff to the sideline, and then the Titans operating this man down again. But you know what? This team didn't give up, man. So I'm happy that they won, but it seemed like the Cardinals more lost this game than the Titans won. I appreciate the Titans staying resilient and stuff like that, and not just ready to get back on the plane and head back to Nashville. They stuck with it. They won the game. Some breaks came for them. Shout out to L'Jarius Sneed. And it stuck through. Cam rolled through a pick, but then got fumbled, and then Tyler Lockett recovered in the end zone. So just like breaks like that, man, kind of will help your team. And when we discuss this NBA Eastern Conference and stuff like that, can some breaks happen for certain teams to make the playoffs? Or break some long streaks for these teams. So we'll discuss more on that later on the show. But if you're not following us on X, do follow us on X at Fast Break at IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. There's our handles right there. D-Locke right there, Black Dash 813. Myself, Spawn 4288. Do give us a follow on there as well. D-Locke, the WNBA Finals game 2 was today, earlier this afternoon, in which is in the midst of all that football, man. And I think that's one thing. We'll discuss more about the ladies here in a second. They got to get out of this dead zone where everybody's playing.
Right.
College football, NFL, NBA is getting started up, NHL starting up, and then you got the MLB playoffs going on right now.
Yeah.
And you got some heavy hitters in the MLB playoffs. Yankees, Cubs. I feel like I missed somebody.
The
Dodgers. So you got some heavy hitters in that, and they're going to take some sign away from these ladies. But back to the WNBA Finals. The Aces go up 2-0, win 91-78. Trying to get my set line. Oh, Asia Wilson, 28 points, 14 rebounds for her. 32 points for Jackie Young, and 8 rebounds for her to help lead the way for the Aces to go 2-0. On the Mercury side of things, Cooper, 23 points for her. Alyssa Thomas, 10 points, but 4 fouls for her, so she was in foul trouble most of the game. And the bench for the Mercury didn't do jack squat for them. D-Locke, the Aces up 2-0. They lost a lot this past off season. Plum getting traded to the Sparks. And the first part of the season didn't go so well for them, but now they rebounded well, and now they're WNBA Finals. Could you see them possibly sweeping the Mercury to finish it out?
I actually do. I mean, right now, I think Aja Wilson, obviously MVP, is playing outstanding. I think she's leading the charge with this. Like I said, also Mrs. Jackie Young is playing extremely well as well. Right now, they're on a tear right now, man. I mean, they're playing extremely well. I think this next game Wednesday is going to be very interesting. But I just think right now, how they're looking. Now they do got to go to Phoenix, but I think right now is going to be it could be a sweep. Right now, like I said, I think how they're looking like they can kind of put this away. If you look at the last couple games, the first one was a close one, a 3-point win by the Aces. But even still with that, Aja Wilson still had 21 points, had a double-double. Jackie Young didn't shoot that good, being 0 for 6 with 3-point land. But they had other help in different places. Chelsea Gray actually played pretty decent that game as well. So to me, I think that for Phoenix Mercury to have that shot, I think they probably would have had to get one of these first two games. But I think it's definitely a wrap now.
For me, I think, just kind of looking at it and all that, I think, it's just the Aces are playing very well. Phoenix, I didn't expect Phoenix to get this deep like this. If we're going to be real about that, just going to the season that they've lost a lot. Dentarius, retired. Brittany Grinder gone. Just like a lot of folks, they're gone. But credit to them. They played hard all season. They were top of the league, along with Minnesota, who they bounced out the tournament. And now, look at them. They kind of like a couple games away. A few games away. A couple games kind of tie back this thing up. But I don't know. Aja Wilson and Jackie Young have been playing.
Mm-hmm.
Down low. I don't know if they can really come back that. And none of these teams shot well for 3-point land, especially the Mercury. But seeing the Mercury getting foul trouble and whatnot is not a great sign. And then hopefully next game, they can find a way to get Aja Wilson in foul trouble, find a way to get Jackie Young out of her game. And if you can do those couple things, I think you'll be okay. But that's ifs and buts. And then if you kind of do that, I'm trying to pull it up. Chelsea Gray, she almost had a triple-double.
Yeah. 10
points, 10 assists, 8 rebounds. And she also had 3 steals as well. So you got that, contend with on the other side of things. So, Drew Lloyd, she had 9 points off the bench, all 3-pointers as well, 7 rebounds for her. And then she also had 3 steals. So that's a lot of, things to come out of, in a series like this. So we'll see how, things come on the other side. But trying to look at what's the next game here. On Wednesday here, do you think the Mercury can win at home on Wednesday?
I think it's going to be a tight one. But I think with how it's looking in the momentum and the momentum that Aces are bringing, I think they're going to take that victory. I mean, Aja Wilson, like I said, she's playing extremely too well. You know what I mean? So for me, I really don't see it. Like I said, the next few games is in Phoenix. But I think, to be honest with you, I think the Aces take a 3-0 lead on Wednesday.
Trying to think.
That's a tough one.
I'm trying to think. I think the Mercury will get one at home. I think they'll get one at home. Let me look up the season that was for these two teams, but I think the Phoenix Mercury will get one at home. It's gonna be a struggle, and if you can get some home cooking against Aja Wilson, I think they'll go a long way for them. But Alyssa Thomas, she got to show up, not getting in foul trouble, and that bench. That's the main thing. That bench for the Mercury, they really got to step up for Game 3. If they don't step up Game 3, again, just call curtains. because you're looking at a sweep for the Aces. But I got the Mercury at least winning game 3 at home, at least getting 1. I think they showed too much defensive force this year to go out like this and get swept by the Aces. I can't see that happening for them. So that's our prediction there. So we'll see what happens on Wednesday. We'll be live tweeting that. But the big thing, D-Locke, that's kind of overshadowed the WNBA finals in a sense. Napheesa Collier. She stands at Cathy Engelbert. If y'all not familiar with Cathy Engelbert, she is the commissioner of the WNBA. And Napheesa Collier says some really damning stuff about Cathy Engelbert, about the league, et cetera, et cetera. But the gist of the comments, D-Locke, and I'm pretty sure you saw this and whatnot, and make sure I got the right comments on here. I'll misquote her. Come on. Where's it at? So here's the gist of what she said, ladies and gentlemen. She accused Cathy Engelbert of saying players should be on their knees thanking their lucky stars for the media rights deal that they negotiated, meaning the deals with CBS, Paramount, where you want to call them. The deals with ABC, ESPN, the Ion channel, where some games are on as well. And then, Collier also said about Engelbert, you saw this part, one of the damning comments, that Caitlin Clark should be thankful that she made to WNBA to have her money that she made from endorsements. Yeah. Which we all know that Caitlin Clark was getting endorsement deals while she was still at school at Iowa.
Correct.
Which makes it more egg in the face if she made these comments. The fallout from these comments that Napheesa Collier has made is kind of the fallout for the CBA negotiations, the growing frustration over the officiating that Collier and others have called out, the pay structure with the new rights deals on that stuff they've been getting, money's not coming into the players, and player treatment as well. We've seen stories over the years, Skylar Diggins-Smith, her treatment when she was in Phoenix, Hamby out of the Sparks, or her treatment when she was pregnant with the Aces as well, and how that went down with Becky Hammond and all that stuff. That's been discussed. The Seattle Storm, we just keep on hearing stories about them, like past couple of years, like what's going on up there. So a lot of things to break down. Cathy Engelbert denied those comments, but let me ask you this. Your reaction to the Napheesa Collier's comments towards the commissioner and her lack of, I guess, rebuttal in a sense. What are your thoughts on her comments on her exit interview this past week?
I mean, I think she was spot on with a lot of things. I know we talked about the spotlight that the exposure that the WNBA needs. That plays a huge part. I think we talk about these other states getting WNBA teams. Like you said before, we're talking about WNBA finals, but we know, hell, this Sunday you got a lot of people watching NFL games from 9:30 this morning until 8 o'clock tonight. You got big college football games last night. You know what I mean? That people were watching. So you got playoff baseball going on. So there's so many different things going on, and I think it does impact the views that the WNBA does get, especially around WNBA finals, which is important. So I think we talked about it. I just think that she can do more. Cathy can definitely do more. Miss Cathy can definitely do more to help the sport to get that exposure. But again, I think us as sports fans, we love this part of the year, right? Because this is when we get we get the mixture of all the great sports. between
Yep.
basketball, football, basketball's cooking up WNBA football, college football, and then baseball, is starting to get into that World Series and playoff realm. So for me, I think that WNBA definitely needs to rethink what's going on with Cathy, and if they can get that help to get that exposure. And it takes players to be able to stand out, you know what I'm saying, and be able to speak up. Again, the comment about Caitlin Clark is crazy because we know what kind of money she was making while she was at Iowa. You know what I mean? I mean, this lady was Caitlin Clark was jacking up threes from half court. You know what I mean? It was not just a couple years ago it was a battle between her and Angel Reese. You know what I mean? And between LSU and Iowa. So that's something that we remember for those that have been watching. So and it's gotten a lot of attention for those that didn't who were not probably watching college women's basketball or women's basketball in general. So that exposure is good. So to say that she should be lucky or she should be thankful, I mean, I think like you said, that's egg on her face big time, because there's more to it than that, as we know. So to me, I think more players should be able to speak up, and I wonder how this is going to transition out. What happens if any changes could possibly be made.
And I watched Monica McNutt's reaction. Her and Malika Andrews, they talked about it, and Monica McNutt brought up the point that Collier, who is the vice president of the women's union, she brought up the point, the Unravel basketball league that she's a part of with Breanna Stewart. They be having her and Engelbert have been having talks and stuff like that. This last off season, trying to talk and do negotiations and stuff like that. Talk about the league, what they can do better on that stuff. And the way Monica McNutt reported it, it seemed like the more they talk, the more things kind of separate. Kind of went one way and one went the other. They want me in the middle, trying to find common ground. Things was kind of like going like this each passing time that they talked.
Correct.
So what Monica brought up, like these talks have been going on for a while behind closed doors. And what we saw this past week, at the press conference, that she kind of is like, okay, I can't continue talking behind the scenes to you because ain't nothing getting done, ain't no compromise, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Okay, if I bring out to the spotlight like this, okay, you got to come out of your shell and say something. And you got the other ladies co-signing it, Aja Wilson co-signing, I stand with Fee, all that stuff. Other ladies put their stamp on it as well. So, was it appropriate? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes you got to do things like this to get attention, not only for yourself, but for the league, for your players and whatnot for the future. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you gotta do some hard things to get things done. I applaud her for doing that. You know what? You ain't really listen to what we're saying. Okay, I'll do this. All right, and let you take the heat and see, dispute what I say was wrong. So I like that for her. I was like, damn. And like you mentioned, like you brought like the Caitlin Clark thing, that kind of made me side eye. Like, damn, you really said that to her about Caitlin Clark? If we know good damn well on this show, we seen the commercials of Caitlin Clark with State Farm and all that. In the deal she was getting. This is 2 years before she came to the league.
Yeah.
You familiar NIL being in the college world and all that?
Oh yeah.
She was getting deals and stuff like. If she would change that to her, God knows what she'd be saying to other folks. But I always had this stance. You got a nice influx of talent. mentioned this last week of girls that you got in the league now, the Clark, Angel Reese, Cameron Brink, Rika Jackson, Paige Bilkers, that Professor brought up, that you're not, should have more spotlight on them, but you're not raising their profile like you should. And then you also got to think about the future. Juju Watkins coming down the line. I know she's not going to play this year, but you got her coming down the line. The girl from Notre Dame. What's her name? Oh God, what's that girl's name? You looking it up?
Yeah.
It will come to me, ladies and gentlemen. I apologize. Hannah DeGago, if I got that right.
Yeah. The junior, yeah. I mean, again, you got a lot of people coming in, as you said. I think it's kind of a pipeline. You know what I mean? Like, you got a lot of good players coming in. But again, it's what you do with this exposure. How do you get this brand to grow? Because it's not going to stop with Caitlin Clark, that she wants to talk about, or Andrew Reese. Juju Watkins is going to be in the league at some point. So you're going to have these people that's going to continue to come in. And I think what I really like about the WNBA now is a lot of these players are not just speaking up for themselves, they're speaking for the future players that are going to come into this league. So it does start now. And it's something that continues to be needed, because I think the salary and the exposure should be a hell of a lot more or better when Juju gets in the league than what it is now. Now, that's not too far, but in a couple of years, we should be looking at WNBA a hell of a lot different. And it continues to be with the exposure and the brand. But to say, oh, yeah, like, this person should be thankful, knowing, like I said, what college NCAA is doing right now with the NIL deals and stuff like that, brands, that stuff, you got kids that are freshmen in college that are getting NIL deals. You know what I mean? That's something that's very huge. So to say that, that's a big foot in the mouth.
Yeah, Hannah Hidalgo, you got her coming down the pike. Lauren Betts out UCLA, her coming down here soon. It's just like, and then, the team expansions. You're doing Portland again. You're doing Cleveland. You're doing Toronto. You got 3 teams coming in the league in the next couple years. Like, what are we doing here? You know what I'm saying? So, and these ladies are coming in from college, very popular, into the league. Like Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, you couldn't script that better. That moment in that championship game, you couldn't script that moment any better. Coming in hot to your league, and you kind of somewhat fumbled them in a sense of press and all that stuff. And now, you had a lost season with Caitlin Clark with the groin injury. Angel Reese has really found her footing in the league. But damn, man, it's like, I'm glad she said it. I said it after the All-Star break about the WNBA and the state of the league. But I think things got to get better. And let me ask you this, with the CBA going on with them. Do you think a lockout will happen in WNBA?
I want to say, how can I say this? I don't think they can afford to have a lockout. Let me say that. I don't think that the WNBA can have a lockout, and we talk about building the brand. I don't think a lockout will help anything. So now it will wake up a lot of people. You know what I mean? It'll get a lot of attention. At first, especially between the players and everybody. But should it be done? I don't think it helps exposure in the brand that we're talking about. We've seen, I think the NFL has done it a few times. We've seen the NBA. But I think because of how long and the exposure that those leagues already have, they were able to withhold and bounce back from it. WNBA, I don't think, in my opinion, that it's good if they did have a lockout. Is it possible? I can see it, but to make that decision, I think you're taking 2 steps forward and 10 steps back.
Yeah.
That's my biggest thing.
Like you mentioned, I don't think for the ladies, I think like you said, the league itself has more to lose than the ladies, because some of these ladies, okay, they play overseas already anyways to make their money, and then you got the Unravel league going on as well. So some of the ladies do that. So, okay, the league lockout. Okay, I can go here to Russia or Spain, whatever, Australia, to make my money, higher paid in the WNBA, and get my money and be okay, and set aside and be all right. But the league, you can't sit out. You just had a new franchise come in to go and say Valkyrie. You got three more coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Got a nice crop of young ladies coming in. You can't sit out. There's like too much.
No.
Wherever momentum you have and you kind of fumble, you can't sit out. I mean, negotiate hardball right now. Too much going on. Too much momentum. Too many talented too many talented ladies to have them out in the cold while you're trying to play hardball.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things you got to discuss about in the CBA, the officiating, the equality, player treatment. I think all those things will come into factor. But I just thinking, you got a lot of money coming into the league, expansion wise and all that stuff. I think you can't lose that focus. So I think for the league, it seemed like this one of the times like a league's gotta, like, I guess in a sense, take one for the team and swallow his pride and get it done and get a thing done for the players, so you won't skip a beat. Okay, you got the your reigning MVP, your MVP, 4-time MVP, on the verge of getting another championship. You can't lose that momentum. One of your storied franchises is in the WNBA finals, the Phoenix Mercury.
Mm-hmm.
Your A1 beginning day franchise. Let's not forget that. So you can't lose this momentum. You can't at all. And hopefully, professionals come about with the union and the WNBA and to get things done. But I'll let you have last word.
I mean, I think, again, having so many sports going on all at one time, right? Like I said, we know what October comes around for, for baseball. September, October, now we're getting started the NFL season. NBA, obviously, we got preseason going on. Like I said earlier, the Warriors and the Lakers are going to play, start the preseason, and the season starts in about 2 or 3 weeks. So in the midst of all of this, the WNBA has to get that exposure. We have to. You know what I mean? That's something that's very important. But the biggest thing is to have a lockout. Now we're really, the fans that you did have, that attention is gonna go somewhere else. That exposure can be going somewhere else. And let's not forget, a lot of times, every 4 years, you got the Olympics. And that's gonna grab a hell of a lot of attention. You know what I mean? So even with that, I think a lockout is something that should not be a big time consideration, especially with what you're saying with not a lot of talented young ladies coming into the league to get that exposure and to branch off and get these expansion teams. Getting a lockout would not help that at all. So in my eyes, I think that's something that they would obviously discuss, and then go from there. But again, you have to go through a lot of scenarios to really consider a lockout and what is the benefit of it. You know what I mean? What is a huge benefit? Or not only what's the benefit, but what are you losing? You know what I mean? What are you willing to lose from this? Are you willing to lose a lot of followers or a lot of time and now the exposure goes somewhere else? Can the league handle that? Right now, I don't think so. You know what I mean? So again, like I said, it is a possibility, but I just highly doubt that would be a wise decision.
So I think this is something we're going to be talking about, over the course of the next several months. Who's going to make the next comment? Engelbert says she's denied all his comments, called him inaccurate, but Collier has since canceled her. They were supposed to meet again, but Collier canceled the meeting, for whatever reason. It's, we'll see why she canceled it, but a lot of heavy things coming to the WNBA. So much, like these comments, so much so, D-Locke, that you got First Take talking about them.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't. Well, they stay on the same damn subjects, but something like this, you got, Stephen A. Y'all locked him on 9 these days. He's saying, Cathy Engelbert got to go. Now, if he's getting there saying that, and getting millions and clicks and stuff like that, and views like that, puts more pressure on Cathy Engelbert and crew to kind of do something. I think I saw, Dan Levertard and crew, they talked about it as well. So you got folks talk about it, get more eyes on you.
Yeah.
It's the wrong set of eyes. So what you gonna do? The ball is in your court, Cathy Engelbert in the league. What y'all gonna do? And I think Napheesa Collier played her cards right, in my humble opinion. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break here. But on the other side of things, we give our Eastern Conference rankings from 15 to 1. Who's going to suck the worst and who's going to be top of the East? One of the favorite things to do on this show, the rankings.
Oh, yeah.
But this is Fast Break live for IE Sports Radio, your direct follow sports, and we'll catch you on the other side.
For the last 10 years, IE Sports Radio has been bringing you amazing content ranging from interviewing legendary athletes, coaches, and other authorized media personnel to building tailor-made shows dedicated to all major sports cities around the country. Make sure to follow us at IE Sports Radio on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and YouTube to keep up with the latest in sports and with all of our shows. Also, make sure to check out our daily updated website at iesportsradio.com. At iesportsradio.com, you can see our daily show schedule and check out all of our show pages with personal bios to learn a little bit more about each of our awesome hosts. In addition to our show pages, you can catch the IE Sports Radio blog, Hall of Fame, Fans of the Month page, and our merchandise shop, including t-shirts, tank tops, caps, long sleeves, hoodies, and more. For now over a decade here at IE Sports Radio, we've continued to be by the fans, for the fans, and we thank you all for your support and for making IE Sports Radio your direct feed for all that is sports.
And welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. This is Fast Break here on October the 5th, live for Ice Sports Radio, your 3-4 sports. Hope you're having a good Sunday on this first Sunday of October. Hope things are going well for y'all. Hopefully y'all NFL teams won today. Also, if your team's in the MLB playoffs, hopefully you're happy with that. Hockey's getting back up and rolling. Hope y'all hockey fans are ready for that. College basketball around the corner. But D-Locke, the NBA preseason has started.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of optimism in the East.
Locke.
You know, not too much shakeup, but a lot of optimism in the East going to the to the season. And before we, I get your rankings here. Your thoughts on the Eastern Conference going to the season? Your thoughts on the Eastern Conference? The Pacers. They took OKC to 7 games. A Pacers team that I don't think me and you had going to the finals.
Mm-mm. Definitely not.
But they rode a hot hand of Tyrese Halliburton. Great bench depth. Some lucky breaks in between there with the Cavs injuries and stuff like that. And Jason Tatum getting hurt. Your thoughts as the Eastern Conference going to the season in your eyes?
To be honest, I think that this Eastern Conference is a lot stronger than what we've seen in the past. I think you got some pretty decent teams. The Knicks and the Magic, my Orlando Magic, finally looks like a team that could be pretty much competitive. For the Eastern Conference. The Knicks, I think they're back playing very consistent. I think we'll see good with them. Cleveland Cavs, I definitely like the team that they have and what they can do. We got Milwaukee's always going to be a threat as long as Giannis is there. The Pacers is that sleeper team that, like you said, you talked about. They actually played pretty well. I think a team that's going to be pretty good also is the Detroit Pistons. Very young. I think that they kind of can maybe they could take that step forward a little bit. So I think this conference is going to be pretty much exciting. Obviously, we're not going to see Jason Tatum. So I think that leaves it a little bit more open. I think if we've seen that healthy Boston Celtics team, I think we're probably having a different discussion. But to me, I think this conference has some decent teams that can make that next move this year. I think that you have some teams that are still trying to put their roster together. I think like the Brooklyn Nets. But again, you got some good quality teams, man. I really can't tell you. I really can't say that there's one team that I can say for sure that I would definitely pick to go to the NBA Finals this year on the East and represent the Eastern Conference. I think last year we probably both picked Boston. If things happened however it did, we knew the Knicks were going to be better. But I think it was like Boston was head and shoulders above every team on the Eastern Conference last year. We thought heading into the year. So this year I think it's a little bit different. Obviously, Jason Tatum being out, but got some pretty decent teams, man. I'm definitely excited to see how this conference rolls out.
To me, while I was doing my rankings and stuff like that, I was like, some good depth from most of these teams. But I think a lot of young rosters on the side of the fence compared to the Western counterpart. You got a lot of the older crowd on the Western Conference. We'll preview next week. But a lot of young guys that kind of really start coming to their own. You touch on Detroit. Cade Cunningham, finally, stayed healthy for most part of the season. And now once that happened, look at what happened. Going toe to toe with the Knicks for the most part in the first. Tyrese Maxey. I know season went bad from the start for the Sixers, but he really showed himself to be a guy, not for the Sixers, but in the league. Jalen Brunson still continuing showing growth and stuff like that and scoring, one of the better scorers in the league. Evan Mobley for the Cavs, showing more growth as a two-way player. Your Orlando Magic, Franz Wagner, Paolo Picaro, showing that growth and versatility as like 2 6'10" forwards, that can do anything with the ball. That's freaking scary. So there's a lot of potential, and can these guys, break, some of these guys I just mentioned, can they continue to break out and go higher like I think a lot of people intended to? So I think the East Conference is going to be fun. I think it's going to be a very interesting season. Who's going to break out, whatnot. I think that's the main thing. Who's going to break out?
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like I said, I think who could make that big step is going to be somebody. I think Pistons are going to be definitely a team to watch out for.
So I'll let you go first. Your rankings from 15 to 1. I'm curious to see who you got.
All right, so I'll start out with one team that is literally been rebuilding for forever, the Washington Wizards. I think that this team is going to be, I like a couple pieces that they have. Obviously, young with Bud Carrington, I think he's going to be pretty good. Him and Alex Sarr, but C.J. McCollum and Chris Middleton, I think they're just there collecting the salary. I think at this point, I mean, do they possibly get traded somewhere to make that impact on a better team? But that's literally my thought process. They do have Cam Whitmore there. So I think this team has some growing to do. But I think that they're going to pick top 5. They're probably going to pick in the lottery. Definitely going to be top 2, top 3. I mean, this team is just not going to be one I think is going to bring that attention in the Eastern Conference. Got them starting at 15. All right. Next, I got Toronto Raptors. Now, very much surprising.
Ooh.
You have a very good roster, right? You have quickly RJ Barrett, Brandon Ingram, Scotty Barnes. I think you have a lot of talent, Jakob. I think you have a lot of talent on that team. But the problem is we don't get a lot of consistency with these guys that we have. I do like Scotty Barnes. I think Scotty Barnes is going to be continue to play well. But we have Brandon Ingram, and he's very inconsistent. He's one player that, we do see that does sneak up. He plays well from time to time. But I don't think that this Raptors team is just going to make that huge jump. I got to see how this chemistry is going to look with these guys. I think their weakness is probably going to be the bigs. I mean, obviously, Jakob Poeltl can have the numbers that he do, but behind him, I don't really see anybody that can come in and help with that rotation. So, again, hell of a roster in my opinion. I mean, obviously, this is the NBA, but to me, I'm not sold on them yet, man. I just think that I'm not buying into it, just because there's some things that they still got to put together. All right. 13, Brooklyn Nets. Now, this team is probably literally damn near as close to the Washington Wizards. I mean, yes, they got Michael Porter and Claxton, but I don't know what the hell happened. Claxton was so inconsistent last year. He was all over the place. So I think the bright side of this team is going to be Cam Thomas. We talked about it before. We think once this guy gets the minutes, he's going to be one of the best guards in this league. So I think right now, and we seen when he was at LSU, you know what I mean? Like, he's that guy. So I think Now we're going to see him take probably a hell of a lot of shots. So for you guys that do fantasy leagues, I would say Cam Thomas is probably somebody you can put on your draft board pretty high because he's going to get a hell of a lot of shots up. He's going to do a lot. Terrence Mann is up there, but the usage for Cam Thomas is going to be insane. Also, Michael Porter, I believe. I think he's going to be able to possibly get a little bit more shots up than what he was with Denver. But this is Cam Thomas' team, man. I mean, in my mind, you can never go wrong with him. He's going to do a lot. But, again, this team is just in that rebuild mode. Now, the question is, do we see teams calling for making trades with Brooklyn during the season? We'll see if that happens. But they're clearly in a rebuild mode, in my opinion. All right. Next, I got the Chicago Bulls. Josh Giddey, and to be honest, this has always been my opinion with this team this past year. I think they got too many damn guards, man.
Yeah.
Way too many. I mean, you got some good ones, but it just for this rotation, it you can't build the chemistry that they can work with. You know what I mean? They got Josh Giddey is gonna cook at some point. Kobe White is gonna do what he do. Then they got Trey Jones coming in, and Desumnu also gets in. So who's really the leader of this team? Who can they say that this is the person that they can literally lean on? Now, Josh Giddey has hell of a game sometimes, but then we see Kobe White come in and start to cook. So the consistency is the biggest thing with me with this team. I think Vooch may get traded before this season is over. Maybe if somebody's looking for a big that is trying to make that leap forward. But clearly at this point, they got Isaac Okoro over there now, and also Kevin Huerter. I mean, come on, man. Like, you know, they lack the bigs big time, but moving on from Vooch is something that I can definitely see them doing. And I don't really see them making a huge impact in the East, man. I just don't see them making it just yet, just because of the inconsistency of who's the actual leader of that team. All right. Next, I'm going to go Miami Heat. Now,
I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, man, if I'm Miami Heat, I'm probably using Bam as trade bait. This team is, okay, Davion Mitchell, I think, is a hell of a piece. But I think, moving on from Jimmy Butler was a huge thing. Tyler Hero, obviously, we know that situation. I don't see this team as being a competitive team in the East. This team looks like they're kind of confused on if they want to rebuild or not. So, I mean, what is Pat Riley and them thinking? To put everything on Bam. Nikola Jovic, remember we talked about, I think he sent me, he just got paid. And I said, like I said, agent probably said, hey, this is a chance to pick up some money. Boom, went and got it. Andrew Wiggins, I just don't see him as being like a number one option guy. It doesn't fit. I think he fits into that role of the third or fourth player on the team. That's why he fit so well in Golden State when he did. I don't think that this is where, you're going to be leaning on Wiggins to give you 25 and 10 every night. That's not happening. So for me, I don't think that the Heat are going to be something to really deal with this year, man. I think they're going to be definitely at the bottom of the East. All right. What was that? That's like 11?
Yeah, you're 11, number 10.
Okay. All right. Now this is where it starts to get very interesting. At number 10, I got the Philadelphia 76ers. Over years, I've been hearing so much about, now I hate to go back to about, but the reason why that the Sixers didn't make it. It's because Ben Simmons passed it the pass, this, that, and the third. That dude's been gone. And we've seen numerous different rotations around Joel Embiid, and it has not worked. It hasn't. So for me, I think Joel Embiid is the piece that need to be moved. In my eyes. At this point, I think Philly and Joel Embiid need to go separate ways. You've already had this guy for the years that you had him. You put different pieces around him. You had James Harden. I'm hearing people say that they needed a true point guard. They got a true point guard in Tyrese Maxey. They have not done anything with this. He was on an interview, I think, after a game and talked about how they need to make a big trade in the offseason. He was winking his eyes about Paul George. They go and get Paul George, and this is still not working. So at this point, I'm out on Philly. Now, maybe it takes for them not to have so much expectations for them to be successful and actually have a good season. I just don't see it. I mean, now they have, like I said, decent roster. You know, like I said, Quentin Grimes and Eric Gordon. They got a couple pieces, but this team is literally led by one Joel Embiid. And if he is not healthy and he cannot go, this team is not going to go anywhere. And at this point, I just don't see the consistency from Embiid right now. I've seen it multiple times. I think, like I said, he has his seasons. He had an MVP season. He's played consistent, but now he's talking about he's not playing back-to-back games. And, you know, he has different health issues. So at this point, I understand the expectation of what can be done, but I'm literally out on Philly. Number 9. This is kind of tough for me to go between Philly and his team is the Charlotte Hornets.
Oh, you got them taking a leap.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
I think that, man, like, we know the biggest thing with Charlotte is health. Charlotte is a big thing that we know about Charlotte is health. This is a young team. I loved what they drafted. Getting Canupa, I think that was a hell of a pickup.
yes.
Brandon Miller and LaMelo Ball, I think they're going to be that's going to be great for them. I think this team can be, if this team can stay healthy, they can shock some people. We'll talk about earlier, what team is it going to that can stand out? I think Charlotte is one of them. If they can actually get things together and have this young crew connect, I think they got the good rotational guys. I mean, picking up Colin Sexton was good, and then they got Trey Mann. So you have a good group of guards. But I really like this team, man. I think that they are going to be a hell of a lot better than what we've seen. Now, obviously, last year we've seen they were just dealing with a lot of health. You know what I mean? Like, they could not stay healthy for nothing. So they're rotating guys, and that's probably going to get moved to down the league. So for me, this is strictly on them being healthy. If this team can be healthy, I think we got a decent team to deal with.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah. Now that was number 9.
Yes.
8. This also has to do with health. The Atlanta Hawks.
Okay.
I liked Trae Young and Dyson Daniel. I really, really did. I thought that if they could stay healthy, this team, that is a very good combination. They got some in Jalen Johnson. They got some in Zachary Wasantra as well. On Ike Okongwu, he took the minutes and he ran with it. He had a hell of a season, in my opinion. But Kristaps Porzingis.
Yeah.
How does this impact this team? Where does it go? So for me, I'm not going to say that I'm going to have high expectations for Kristaps Porzingis, but if they can get him to be somewhat healthy majority of the season, the Hawks might be able to be a little interesting. I think they could be pretty decent. Also liking going to get Alexander Walker. I mean, I think going to get another guard in there. I think they play a huge part as well. They get Luke Kennard, which I'm not too much of a fan of Luke Kennard like that. But, having Dyson, that Dyson Daniels, Trae Young, and Jalen Johnson, that's a nice set right there. It's just now with Porzingis, if you can get him to be healthy, stay healthy, man, I might have a decent little team to do something. What number is that? 8?
Yep.
All right. 7. The Detroit Pistons. Now, I think this team does make that jump. Like I said, I think they kind of remind me of a young. Well, you know what? I'm gonna use that for my Orlando Magic. I think that this team is a young team up and coming. Cade Cunningham, like you said, when he's healthy, I think he's a hell of a piece. Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, they got to figure out their minutes, man. We got to figure out who's gonna get what minutes and how often.
Yeah.
They're trying to even out the score between these guys. Hey, listen, during this preseason, so you got to get your rotation and figure out who's your guy, because I think it kind of hurt them in the long run trying to split minutes between Stewart and Duren. Tobias, I think he's the veteran in that group, so he can play that veteran role for them. Going to get Karis LeVert is not a bad idea. I think that's a pretty solid pickup. I think he's going to play a big part. Also going to get Duncan Robinson. You can see they're trying to make sure they have a decent amount of guards in there. Also protecting if Cade Cunningham did have a few injury issues. They have some guys. But if this team can stay healthy also, which I think they would, like I said, they was still in some good games last year. I think this team could be a playoff team. I think they have a good chance. I mean, young, now you've got your guys. Now you have your core. You see you got your captain. Make that step forward. Now let's see that move. All right, that's what, number 7?
Yes, sir.
Now I'm starting to get interested. 6. This is going to be a shocker. The Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
We clearly know who the biggest piece of this is. If Jason Tatum is not hurt, I think they're still a top 3 team in the East, even without Porzingis. Right now, this is going to be Jaylen Brown's team. I mean, you're going to have Anthony Simmons. I think is not a bad piece. You got Derek White. You got those core, but this is going to be Jaylen Brown's team.
Mm-hmm.
My issue is with this team is, again, the bigs. You got Chris Boucher. Luka Garza is not going to be I don't think he's going to do too much for you. Okay, you got Xavier Tillman, and Neemias Queta. I think he's going to be a decent player as well, but that's where I think it's going to hurt them the most. They don't have anybody big down low. Losing Porzingis and Al Horford played a huge part. Now, granted, these are injury guys and older guys, but I think that was those veterans that kept this group, kind of together. Now, when you're moving on from them, or they're moving on now, and you're missing a key piece in Jason Tatum, now you're gonna have to rely on your other guys to take over. So for me, this team would be higher, but missing a key piece like a Jason Tatum, I think that's gonna take a lot from this team. All right, that was what, number 6?
Yes, sir.
All right. And now we get to the top 5. I'm going to go with the Indiana Pacers.
Surprise.
The reason why is because I think this team was, losing Halliburton was a huge thing, but what I like about this team, Benedict Mathurin, I think, is a hell of a player. We're going to see more of him. Siakam has been to the NBA Finals. He has the experience. He's won the NBA Finals. I think Nembhard is a big play as well. I like what this team has. My biggest thing is who's going to take over now that Hallenberg is going to be out for a while. Who's going to be that captain? Could it be Benedict Matherin? Could it be Nembhard? They obviously still got T.J. McConnell, who we know he can get you 12 steals in a game if you really wanted to, and then come back and get you 7 assists. So for me, I think that this team still has losing a guy like Hallenberg is going to be huge, but I think that you still have Siakam, who has the experience, the veteran experience to continue to keep this team afloat and keeping them competitive. So again, especially for a team going to NBA Finals, I think that they're going to be a team that's definitely going to be reckoned with. I just like other teams, other the 4 teams, better than them. All right, 4. I want to pick this team number 1, but not yet. The Orlando Magic. Now, this may sound biased. Banchero and Franz Wagner. I read a little bit last year before. If one is hurt, this team is probably cooked. They could not manage to. Banchero couldn't hold the whole team down. Franz Wagner was gone. Franz Wagner couldn't hold the whole team down. Banchero was gone. They went back and got some more help. Going to get Desmond Bane is a hell of a piece. I think that is a huge, huge piece. KCP plays some defense, but KCP is not giving you 20 points a game. He's not doing that. He's not giving 17, 20. He's not doing that. So going to get Desmond Bane and Tyus Jones, basically both from Memphis, I think that was a hell of a pickup as well. Anthony Black, when he got in, he played extremely well. And I think that I like what this team has. My biggest issue is what happens with the bigs as well. I mean, Wendell Carter he has game, and Goga sometimes but outside of that, they're bumping down Jonathan Isaac at the 5. And in my opinion, how I feel about Jonathan Isaac. I don't really think this guy's, what I'm saying, he's that. I don't think he's that. So for me, this team, and I wanted to use it earlier, this team kind of reminds me of that young OKC team. I think I told you about that before. They have a young group now. And now if they can collectively learn how to play with each other and build that chemistry, they could be a better team in the East. This is something that we haven't seen in Orlando in years. So if this team can kind of put it together, then I can see them making, some big moves forward. And also, I think because, making that move to have Wagner and Banchero, they have that connection now. You're adding in that Desmond Bane. Now you got a good group. And Jalen Suggs, we know he can go off at any point. So I think that this is a very good young core, a young group. Now, if they can stick together, I think that'd be great. And for me, being a Magic fan, they need to hurry up and keep these guys signed up, because I've seen a lot of my big time players leave Orlando to go to LA, and I ain't it happen again. That's nothing. I'm not trying to have somebody else go West Coast. So for me, that was number 3.
Yes, sir. No, number 4.
Number 4. Okay. All right. Now, 3. This was a tough one. I got the Milwaukee Bucks. Giannis is Giannis. I mean, without question, he's going to be him. Now, because of the Dame situation, I think if Dame was there, I think this team would be a hell of a lot higher. But now, Giannis is going to be Giannis. I think that we may see the best we've seen Kyle Kuzma look since he was in LA. It's a tough one. I think it's very tough. But I think Giannis is that player that you can just put. He's going to make everybody else better around him. So that's what I'm kind of gauging with. Gary Trent, Dude, you got to have a better season this year, man. You were so inconsistent last year. It was rough catching him. So going to get Miles Turner, I think, was a big thing. Now, like I said, this is a team I'm not worrying about their bigs. They're going to be fine with there. Bobby Portis and Miles Turner is two very good pieces. Obviously, Giannis is going to be Giannis. It's just not that guard position. Can they get consistency from guys like a Kevin Porter and a Cole Anthony? What can they get from them? And how can they flourish with Giannis? Because clearly the team goes as Giannis goes. So for me, I think that Giannis is going to be the one that leads this group. And he is that person that can impact everybody in the positive light. So I definitely got them at 3. Now, down to 2 teams. At number 2, I got the Cleveland Cavs.
Okay.
Evan Mobley and Jared Allen are 2 very good pieces. Donovan Mitchell is going to be Donovan Mitchell. We'll see what we see from Lonzo Ball this year. But I think this team they got all the pieces, man, to be honest. There's nothing really that they're lacking.
No.
They have all of it. So at this point, how can this team not be in the Eastern Conference Finals? What reason can they miss the conference finals with what they have? Now, granted, we see other talented teams that can possibly be there, but looking at it, I mean, you got Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. They're going to dominate down low. And Donovan Mitchell can drop 30 or 40 anytime he wants, and Darius Garland. So this rotation is going to look great. But the problem is, can they put this together? I think if they can be healthy, then this team can be somebody to deal with. But at this point, I think this is one of the better teams in the East. The expectation this should be to be at the NBA Finals. And clearly, number 1, I think is obvious for me, is the New York Knicks. I think that this team is I think that the history between the Pacers and the Knicks just kind of didn't fall in their hands this past year, to be honest with you. Tyrese Halliburton on fire and motivated in many ways. But I think that this New York Knicks team is a team to watch out for. I think this is the year they go to the NBA Finals. I think right now, biggest thing for me is, what does Mike Brown do with this team? Also, now you have your bigs and Karl-Anthony Towns and Mitchell Robinson. You go and get Jordan Clarkson. I think that was a hell of a pickup in my mind. I really like that. So much work that Jalen Brunson had to do last year. I think that's going to get scaled back. We talked about it. They would have so many minutes last year. You know how Tibbs used to be. Tibbs would run people to the ground. And that's what we realized is this team would literally play 30-plus minutes a game throughout the whole season. And then come playoffs, they're beaten and battered up, which is, I eventually think, caught up to them. And there's a such thing as peaking too early. So to me, looking at this team, a new coach, you got the rotation guys. Josh Hart, we know, can go out there and have a hell of a game as well. I think this is the year. I think this is the year that they go. They just have to be healthy. That's some high expectations, but I think it can be done. I mean, like I said, you're coming off Jalen Brunson, who we know can catch fire anytime we want. With him and Karl-Anthony Towns, it's a hell of a connection. Mitchell Robinson, who's going to be 100% healthy. Then they got your boy from Philly, the center, power forward, Yabusele.
Oh, yeah.
So you got, and I see what they're doing is they're building depth in that power, that 4 and 5 position. So now they have different ways that they can rotate that. So I got the Knicks being number 1, man. I think that they're going to be a team to watch out for. It's just now staying healthy. If they can do that, might see them in the NBA Finals.
So to recap, you got the Wizards at 15, the Raptors at 14, the Nets at 13, the Chicago Bulls at 12, the Heat at 11, the Sixers at 10, Hornets at 9, Hawks at 8, Pistons at 7, Celtics at 6, Pacers at 5, Magic 4, Milwaukee Bucks at 3, the Cleveland Cavaliers at 2, and the Knicks at number 1 in your preview. Is that correct, sir?
Yep. Like Stephen A. say, go New York, go New York. Even though I'm a Magic fan.
All right. All right. Let's see. All right. I'll get mine real quick, and then we'll compare and whatnot and go from there. 15. I got the Washington Wizards. My theme for them, to get by the season and just focus on the 2026 offseason. You don't win a championship. You know, your lottery odds didn't go well for you. So, you know, you couldn't get none of the top guys like you hoped. You got a lot of cap coming off after this year. So you have $100 million plus going to the next offseason. So if you're the Wizards, try and get a high draft pick again. If it's at least top 2, that'd be great. And just kind of, you know, go hope for the best. And then if you can get things like a good market on Chris Middleton, if he plays well enough that a veteran team bites on him, then that'd be great. But we shall see. But this team's not going nowhere, D-Locke. These teams just kind of like spinning his wheels in a sense. And yeah, Dash Master on Twitch saying the Wizards need you can pull it up. The Wizards need a lot of work, and the young guys got to do a lot of learning this year. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Alex Clark, he's got to be at least a double-double guy this year. If I had to look at like a stat line for him, at least 15 to 16 and 10 rebounds. And possibly like average at least like 4 assists. Move the ball around, you know, show some versatility, and be that guy that the team that can hinge a future on and build around. So I got the Wizards at 15. 14. I got the Charlotte Hornets. Young core led by LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller. And D-Locke, we talked about this years ago. We kind of, in a sense, first people talked about this, but some of y'all not familiar with this. While Brandon Miller was at Alabama, he got caught up in something, which his former teammate shot and killed somebody, basically. And now that case is going to trial now. The co-defendant in that case, Michael Davis, if y'all remember, he was due with Darius Files that shot the shots. D-Locke, he got found guilty earlier back in May for capital murder, and he's going to spend the rest of his life behind bars. He's going to be in jail without bond. So life in prison for Michael Davis. Now for Darius Miles, who's trying to claim self-defense, all this stuff, his trial date is on December 1st. Now, why am I bringing this up? You know, will Brandon Miller be called to testify? I think he will. Would that affect his, like, you talking about a player going to year 3 whose time got cut short due to injury. And, you know, you had the Hornets at number 9. I think Brandon Miller is like a key factor if that happens, but, you know, you got people accusing him of killing that lady at night. And, you know, is that going to affect his play or not? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one thing to kind of keep an eye on if you're a Hornets fan. How does this trial go about? How long does it go? All that stuff. But, besides that, you got a young core. This team got potential. It's just like, can LaMelo Ball stay healthy? That's one thing right there.
Yep.
If he can stay healthy, cool. But it's just like, okay, that year he can stay healthy and stay on the court. Hasn't happened yet. So I got until he can stay healthy, Miller can stay healthy, and some of these young guys can reach their max potential. I got them in 14. They're still in that stage that I don't think they're there yet to take a leap, in my opinion. Number 12. 13. The Bulls, stuck in neutral. I know they signed Josh Giddey to that deal, but it just seems like it's like, what direction you want to go to?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I haven't said that. With signing Giddey to that deal and him being there, their assists as a team, as a collective, has gone up. So that's a positive. Montes Berzes has a lot of potential. Really showed up late in the season. Kobe White, great scoring guard. I found this peak as kind of like a combo guard that you wouldn't have to take care of the ball. Now you got Giddey to do that, and White can focus more on scoring. So those three guys, a lot of potential, but I don't think they're a playoff team. And Vooch, if they can find a deal for him with the veteran team, that'd be great. Looking at teams like, who I can think of right now. I thought the Warriors would make a play for him, but they signed Al Horford. Phoenix may take a stab at it, depending on how they are in the season and all that stuff. But we'll see how that looks out. But I got the Bulls at 13. 12, the Brooklyn Nets. Cam Thomas is on a 1-year deal. And they really never did right by him in a sense, like not giving the keys to the franchise, but not at least believing in him to be a piece for that squad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying like the leader or whatever and whatnot, but they never gave him the chance to be a guy, to be a foundational piece. So for me, for him, I think it's a wise move to do the 1-year tender and go to unrestricted free agency for next off season. Michael Porter Jr., if he had at least averaging 20 points a game, I don't know what to say. They drafted a lot of guys. I'm curious how they going to work out the minutes and stuff like that, and who goes to the G League and whatnot throughout the year.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a team that, in a weird spot. Like a lot of teams that dump salary on them, but they're role players, so you don't know, who's going to rise to the top right there and all that. And you mentioned about Nicholas Claxton. That's another name to keep an eye on come trade deadline. If he gets moved for assets. So that's another guy to keep an eye on. Who gets hurt, whatever, throughout the season, and someone make a move play for him. But I got the Nets at 12. 11. I got the Toronto Raptors. If Barnes and Ingram click and stay healthy, they can push for 8 seed. If not, kind of like where you got them at 14, they could be around there. But I looked at the roster earlier this week, past week, and then today. It's a good mix of roster. You got Emmanuel Quickly there, Grady Dick, shows potential as a 3-point shooter, but everything else, he got to work a lot of things around his game besides shooting. RJ Barrett's there. There's a lot of potential. Jacob Patel down low. A lot of potential with this group. Is just like, can they formulate the right pieces and find the right lineup to make everything work?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yep.
So I like this. I want to like this squad. They're long, they're athletic, but can they, can the coach get things figured out and find the right lineups and whatnot? That's my thing with them. I got them 11 because I think they're stronger than these other 4 teams behind them. But I can't put them on past some of these other teams I got ahead on for coaching purposes. I think if they have a stronger coach, I probably put them higher. But some of these other coaches are stronger than the Raptors head coach, which leaves me number 10, the Miami Heat. Heat culture is good, D-Locke, but this team is lacking a superstar. I know Pat Riley is riding that Tyler Hero train, but he's going to be out in the beginning of the year with the injury. He missed time last year. Now, it's a good move to get Norman Powell in there. I like that. But, man, after that, you got Bam Adebayo there. Just wait for the wedding date for him and Asia Wilson, basically. Andrew Wiggins in trade rumors, and hell, he might be a Laker here soon, the way things are talking. I appreciate the culture. I appreciate they finding guys and working to the system. But it's just like, once you get past all that, what's there? And if you're a Miami fan, you kind of like looking like, dang, guys are getting older. We got a lot of salary on this team, but we're always sitting in the play-in game every year. So I got them as a play-in team again, but some of the other teams, like you brought up, the young teams, stuff like that, I kind of passed them by. And I think the Heat is going to be one of these teams going to suffer for it, because if you look at the Wizards and Hornets and Bulls, they got some future that they can do some things and maybe pass Heat by here in the next couple of years. But I think with strong front office, strong coach, I think they can still weather the storm for a little bit. But I got them at number 10. Number 9, the Indiana Pacers. Without Halliburton and Miles Turner, who's now in Milwaukee, they'll struggle to replicate last year's final run. It's going to be tough without those two trying to make the finals. But they go with strong coaching. I do worry about the lack of depth down low. I think guard play should be fine for the most part. Siakam, he be, a take charge guy for the season? What, like a lot of us envisioned what happened in Toronto, but never really happened like that. So that's the thing to kind of keep an eye on. Can he be that guy to be a 20-plus point scorer and be that dude for this franchise? The guard play, I think they'd be strong. I think they'll still be strong. But, Halpern going out, Turner leaving, it's going to take a hit.
Yeah.
But I still think they still be in playoff contention for the most part. I think Rick Carlisle is not going to let this team suffer like that.
Yeah, I agree.
But I do got them number 9. Number 8, the Detroit Pistons. Was last year a sign of things to come, or was it a fluke? Now, some of y'all probably Detroit fans, you see this on the playback, whatever. It's like, this ain't no fluke. They're finally coming to get things together. We'll see. I don't like that Duncan Robinson contract. They signed him to a pretty nice deal, and I don't like that, to be honest with you, because he got that big old deal in Miami, D-Log, and we saw he really never lived up to it. Now he got like something like that again, in a sense, and I don't know if he's going to perform up to that standard. We shall see. But if this team's going to prove that wasn't a fluke, Cunningham's got to stay healthy. Jaden Ivey got to take a leap. Thompson has got to continue that path forward up. Harris, solid veteran, like you mentioned. And then the big man situation is just like, just pick who you want to go with. Isaiah Stewart or Jalen Duren. One of those guys, pick one, and send the other one shop the other one. But I think I got other teams ahead of Detroit right now. They could rise up like they were in the 6th seed again. But right now, I got them at least number 8. And then I don't know if they bring back Malik Beasley on a cheap deal. He's got a lot of issues going on, but if they want more scoring, they could possibly bring Malik Beasley back, but I doubt that because they went and signed Duncan Robinson so quickly. But I got Detroit number 8. Number 7, I got the Philadelphia 76ers.
You still holding on.
Can they just put last season behind them? I think that's the thing for Nick Nurse. Also for Nick Nurse to keep his job. Can he put last season? Can they put last season behind him? I know Embiid's not going to be ready to go start the season, but Maxey, Paul George, Kelly Oubre, Janai Broome, the kid from Baylor who they drafted 3rd overall. What's that damn kid's name? Pulling up right now. Pulling up right now with a kid's name. Because you sitting there staring down Steph Curry the other day. Edgecombe.
Oh, yeah.
So they got some nice pieces. Some young guys that can come in and play. Drummond's a good backup at this point of his career. Jerry McCain, if he didn't get injured his rookie year and lost his, towards ACL, I think he was on track to be rookie of the year, in my opinion. And now he's hurt again. How that's going to impact things again. So if all these guys can come back healthy and contribute and put last season behind them, I think they go a long way for this team. But I think NB not being ready to go start of the year gets them to this point at 7. If he's healthy, good to go, I'll put them a little bit higher. But he's gonna miss games. They're gonna be right here. All said and done. So the Sixers at 7. 6. The Boston Celtics. Jaylen Brown leads a read-through roster with Derek Wright and Peyton Pritchard. I think Jaylen Brown is going to have a career year scoring-wise. Anthony Simons, I think, he's going to come in and play well. I got to disagree with you one thing. I think Luka Garza is going to come in and play well for this team. I got a good bid out of Iowa, never could crack the rotation in Minnesota. I think this is his chance to kind of get some run and contribute something into this team because, hell, Luke Cornett got burned with them, and I don't think he all that. I think Garza is like a very better player than Luke Cornett, especially offensive-wise. So if he come in and show that potential that he came out of Iowa of, scoring-wise, I think they'll go along for this team. But, I got them 6 only because, missing Jason Tatum, that's going to hurt. And then missing Drew Holiday is going to hurt. And even when he was hurt most of the time, Porzingis is going to hurt. So, and Holford hurt. So, it's going to be something for this team. But I think, like I said, Jaylen Brown is going to be a guy that's going to be on a scoring tear for this season. It might challenge for the scoring title this year. I'm going to put that out there.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So I got Boston at 6. 5, the Atlanta Hawks. Quinn Snyder on the hot seat. Why I say that? We've seen Quinn Snyder do more or less in the NBA in Utah. Here, you got Trae Young, very volume scorer, Dyson Daniels, Jaden Johnson, Porzingis in the fold now, Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the fold. A lot of pieces there that you shouldn't struggle and you shouldn't be in the play-in. All said and done. And I got a feeling it's that the Hawks, with this roster, winds up in playing again, D-Lock, may let go. But if they like 5th and above like this, yeah, I think he's all right. But they should be a top 5 team in the East at least with this roster. They have to be. I refuse to. They can't be in the play-in game. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
that'd be malpractice with this roster. So I got them at 5. 4, the Milwaukee Bucks. Another first-time exit if guard play falters. How does Miles Turner change things? So you get younger at center, D-Lock, with Miles Turner. I do worry about the point guard spot. I know they're going to try that Kevin Porter out there and see how that goes, but I'm kind of skittish on that. Giannis is in his 30s now. That's something to monitor as well. I saw a video of Kuzma the other day. I know it was like after practice, whatever, and taking shots, but somebody else pointed out, it's like he didn't touch a ball all summer.
Complete vacation.
It's like, you touch a ball and stuff like basketball and stuff like that, and you didn't touch one in a while. You gotta get used to it. It gets funny and stuff like that. I deal with that coaching sometimes. Like, I touch a ball after a while, after some months, it's like, damn, I gotta get in a rhythm. But that's how he looked to me. It's like no rhythm, ball handling kind of just look off.
Yeah.
It's just like, hopefully he'd be ready to go in the season, but it just don't look inviting that, like, you know what I'm saying? So I got the Bucks at 4. Also, coaching matters too for the Bucks. So Doc Rivers there. We'll see how that shakes out for them. Number 3, your Orlando Magic.
Ooh, good jump.
Top 2 defense. Top 2 defense last season. Now with improved spacing, they are a dark horse finals pick in my opinion. If Wagner and Vaccaro can stay healthy, Bane can be consistent. If Jalen Suggs can stay healthy too, that's another thing. You know, some of those young guys can contribute here and there, and the big man could just play very solid. There's a team that can go deep. But only reason I got the number 3, I think the other 2 teams ahead, I think their rosters are better filled out and better continuity in a sense. But I think the progression of this Orlando team here, what we talked about this past few years, now we're seeing the maturing process of age and stuff like that coming along. Can they take this next leap?
Right.
I think we're going to see that this year. But one thing you did brought up, like if one guy's out, you know, the other guy don't really pick up the slack like that. That's got to change. You got to keep up the effort. If one guy goes out, take charge and lead the team. Don't lose pace. Don't lose thought. You know, at one point, you know, the team was at like top of the East. You know, Pantera go out, lose a few games, you drop down. He comes back, Franz Wagner go down. You're all right for a little bit, and you drop down a little bit. So it's key that these guys stay healthy. And good move getting Bane in there as well. So I got them at least top 3. 2, the New York Knicks. Can Mike Brown make a difference? Him and Tibbs are cut for the same cloth. Defensive minded, whatever. I think Brown's more lenient in a sense. But I don't know. The way Jeff T talked about Tibbs, you know, he's kind of like lenient too in a sense. You know, we kind of see this Tibbs on the sideline. He's got this mean old New York face, you know, you thinking he's like a hard ass, and then you see some of the players talk about him like he really ain't like that. You know what I'm saying? So I know why they made the coaching change, because there's the last that some of the players wanted out if they kept Tibbs. Looking at you, Karl Anthony Towns and Miles Bridges. But you know, I wish if they're gonna make a coaching change, get somebody that can take them over the hump. And I don't know if Mike Brown could be that guy to kind of take them over the hump like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I got them too, because you know they really make no changes. Getting Jordan Clarkson for the bench is great. You know, Mitchell Robinson should be good to go for the season. You know, all the players are intact and stuff like that. So no big changes. Miles Bradley should take another leap this year. So I like, you know, they consistent and whatnot. And, you know, and also get Mike Brown find a balance in the minutes and stuff like that. That's another thing as well. But I think it should be all right there. But I got that number 2. And finally, I got Cleveland number 1. This team was destined for the finals, but the injuries just came up in the playoffs. Garland, Donovan Mitchell, Mobley, all these dudes just get hurt at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
And then you run to Halliburton beating you in the playoffs. Garland didn't play for the most part. So, can these guys just stay healthy? That's all it is.
Yep.
Can they just stay healthy for the playoff run and make a finals berth? That's my thing. If they can do that, I think it'd be great for Cleveland, post LeBron, that, they could do something without, LeBron being in uniform. But if they can't stay healthy, or to tell them rephrase like this: if they get injured at the wrong time again, like last postseason, then you may have to consider moving some pieces around. And probably the first one be moved first is Darius Garland.
Mm.
I think Mobley, if you look at the pecking order of those guys, I think Mobley would be the last piece moved if anything happened. But it probably look like this: Garland, Jared Allen, Donovan Mitchell, and then Mobley. Getting Lonzo, we'll see how he works out for them. But if everybody stay healthy and they can repeat the success of the regular season of last year, they get a good chance to the finals. And that's a team, if per se they match up in the finals of OKC, can match up pretty well with them. If you really think about it. Jared Allen, Mobley down low, pushing Chet Holmgren around down low like that. Isaiah Hartenstein, you can match him up with Jared Allen. Jalen Williams, back Strus on the wing. So this like fantasizing, if your class fans listen to, is like, damn, if they can make it, they can match up pretty well. And the Pacers can take them some games. The Cleveland, hell, they got a good shot for doing that as well. So that's who I got, D-Locke. The Wizards at 15, and then number 1, I got the Cavs number one. Your thoughts real quick.
I definitely like that list. I mean, I think we were close with the Cavs and the Knicks. Clearly, them two being the best teams in the East. I think for both of us, we got to see what Boston does. You know what I mean? How does this team look without Porzingis and Jason Tatum and Al Horford? So what are they going to do? Is that man Jaylen Brown going to be up for an MVP candidate, or is he going to lead the league in scoring? One thing I do find, like I said, I kind of we're very close with the Atlanta Hawks as well. It's just that with Porzingis, that ownership, not ownership, but that injury prone, what does it do? You know what I mean? So for me, I think it's a hell of a list, man. I think we definitely agreed on the Wizards being the worst team in the East. You know what I mean? So that plays a huge part. And then obviously knowing the stuff about Brandon Miller, he plays his situation is definitely going to impact Charlotte. How does this team kind of move forward with that situation? If it is not something that's impacting them, I think Charlotte could be a pretty decent team. But if he has to go and deal with off the court stuff, we're probably looking at a different situation for the Charlotte Hornets.
Yeah, and in 2 weeks' time, we'll go over who wins championship, whatnot, and all that stuff. But I think with the ease, it seems like a lot of injuries set a lot of these teams back reaching their full potential. And obviously we're gonna miss some guys like Halliburton and Tatum. But you look at these other squads, the thing about ifs and buts, could be applied to a lot of these teams, including the Bucks. If Dame didn't get hurt, what happens with them? You know what I'm saying? So it's just like a lot of these teams, got a lot of potential.
Mm-hmm.
And, they took OKC, who was like top of the league last year, took them to 7 games in the finals. So if you're the team in the East, you can win.
Yeah.
Like, you can win. You just gotta find the right pieces and right momentum and the right coaching to win the NBA championship. So the Almighty West is almighty, but you can come in and trade blows for them, for a good series. So I'll just leave that at that. But this has been our show tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight. I know it went a little long, but we love this preview series. We love it.
Oh, yeah.
One of the good shows we do. And next week is the Western Conference. So if you join the show with us live, we'll preview the Western Conference just like this format here. Talk about the WNBA finals, whatnot, NBA preseason, talk all that stuff. So next week, Western Conference preview as well. So if y'all thought the East list was something else, then the West list is going to be. It's going to be. I'm curious to see your list next week because it's going to be up and down. It's going to be a lot different for all of us here.
Oh yeah, big time. That's going to be a tough one, but that West is something different.
But D-Locke, how can people find you on social media?
You guys can find me at Black-813. I will be retweeting a lot of Buck stuff. So I'll be saying stuff like we're going to the Super Bowl, and I believe it until we don't. Let know they can find you on the show's page.
You can find the show's page right here at Fast Break IESR. That's Fast Break IESR. Do follow me on Twitter at Spawn4288. That's Spawn4288. I have not tweeted no Titan stuff today because I was at work, but I'll hop on there and talk a couple things on there. Also, I do another show on the side called the Crooks Process. You can follow those pages on Instagram and TikTok. Type in the Crooks Process. You can follow me there. I get my takes on stuff on there as well. Do follow IE Sports Radio on all your social media feeds: X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube as well. We do the shows. Do give us a follow, like, and share the shows, and comment down below as well. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, the Western Conference previews next week. WNBA talk as well. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.